Well, good morning. Today we're going to talk about something a little bit different than what I normally cover on this channel. Normally, if any of you follow me more consistently, this is a general mechanical automotive type channel, mainly fixing stuff. I like fixing things. That's what I do. That's what I get paid to do. So that's what I do here is hopefully helping people out when they need it, trying to work on stuff that they may not be as familiar with. That's what I do. But I have some perspective based on my 26 almost years in the industry now, on some of the current events going on today. So that's kind of what I'm going to do this morning. Obviously, this is a kind of a silly timeline that we're in right now. We're kind of unprecedented territory related to this response to the COVID-19 virus and the efforts being taken to mitigate its spread. Now, I see a lot or hear a lot of talking heads in the media complaining that this is an overreaction, that it's just the flu, bruh. It's really not. People have been experiencing the flu-type viruses for many years, hell, thousands of years probably. And there are vaccines, and everybody has been exposed to it at some level or another for the most part, and they've got some resistance to it. This is a different animal than that. So the possibility for people to catch it is, I would speculate, significantly higher than your average flu strain that we see. So the only way to mitigate an explosion in cases, because if anybody knows anything about exponential growth, it starts off really slow, and by the time you realize that you should have done something, it's way too late. So that's the only way to do this. You have to choose to self-isolate. Personally, I don't like people. I don't like crowds. I don't like places like that. So I've been practicing self-isolation for about 50 years now. So this is nothing new for me. But I digress. The main key for what the government's trying to do, or any of these governments are trying to do, is reduce the speed at which people get sick, if they are going to get sick from this stuff. The number of people who are going to get sick is probably fixed. I don't know that we can potentially reduce that all that much. If you're going to get this thing, you're going to get this thing. You might reduce your chances a little bit by, staying away from hospitals and airplanes and things like that, whatever. But I mean, if I had a trip right now, I'd probably take it. I wouldn't go to, countries that are really having issues. But, right now we're driving around, going to work, whatever. That's what I'm just doing normal things. I'm not afraid to go out in public. But making the decisions that they are making is trying to reduce the speed at which these people get sick, so you don't overwhelm the medical system. If 500,000 people are going to get this thing, you want to spread that out over the course of a few months. You don't want 500,000 people needing a bloody respirator in a hospital in 2 days. That's the point of this. So, obviously, it's an unknown to some extent, because it's not terribly bad yet. And it may not get terribly bad. Now, here's the perspective that I can offer on that, based on my career. I am what the industry would term a reliability engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer by degree, a mechanical engineer basically by training. Rotating equipment is effectively what I've dealt with for 25 years now. I get paid a fair amount of money by a big company to make sure that they do what's right to keep their rotating equipment rotating so that we can make our products and sell them. What else is the point of having a business if you can't make money? But the perfect world situation for my job is everything I do looks like it didn't matter. Because in a perfect world, if I'm perfect, nothing fails unexpectedly. And so my job is to convince management and business leaders that they need to spend some money on a kind of a continuous basis to maintain this equipment properly, to maybe do work on a piece of equipment that's running perfectly fine right now. But that just guarantees that it's not going to unexpectedly fail on them in the next 6 months. But then it doesn't fail, and they look at me and say, well, why did I have to spend that money? This thing running fine. It's running perfectly. So that's my battle. That's my daily battle at work. And really, that's what you have right now in the world. The daily battle that I face because of my career choice is what these politicians are dealing with. If they don't act and something goes completely pear-shaped, they will be mocked and mercilessly ruined because they allowed this to happen. On the flip side, though, they are starting to act, maybe a little late in my opinion, but they are starting to act. And now, if nothing happens, they will be mocked and ruined for overreacting. Even if it is actually this overreaction, quote unquote overreaction, that is what allowed the consequences to be either mitigated, reduced, or eliminated. And there'll be no way to prove one way or the other that your action is what did it. Everybody will just say, well, look, it was fine. Everything's fine. Why did we even have to do all this stuff? That's what I deal with on a day-to-day basis. So I wish everyone the best. I hope that no one gets sick. I hope that this is truly an overreaction. But I don't think it is, personally. Now on to my second topic, and this one may be a little bit more fun. I worked in the early to mid-90s for a company that makes consumer products and paper goods and personal products. And in the few years leading up to the 2000 switch Hysteria, I remember we were selling everything that people could buy. People were stockpiling our products and like canned soup and toilet paper and paper towels and diapers and everything. We couldn't make enough product. We were making money hand over fist. Everything was great. We were fat, dumb, and happy. And then New Year's 2000 happened, and nothing happened. And everything went on about its life. People just went back to living. Well, for the next 2 years that I recall, our corporate business results were not very good because everyone who had stockpiled these biodegradable, these long-term commodities like paper products and canned food and things like that, they had to work through them. That stuff's not just going to disappear. So I went to do my normal grocery shopping this morning. This is Saturday, March 14th. I went out, like I normally do, to Walmart at 5:45 in the morning. It looked like Christmas time. Craziness. There are no paper goods. There are no staples. I mean, I was able to find what I needed because I'm just doing a normal shopping. I'm not trying to buy out 750 pounds of rice and beans and 1,000 rolls of toilet paper. I got what I need already just because of normal shopping habits. But this is what I'm getting at. All of this run on these paper goods and these commodity products that have long lives. Watch the results of these producers in the market. I don't really invest much because I'm an idiot, but If you're a stock person, you look at these results. Look back at what happened around the turn of the century during that. If you're into any of these commodity producers, these materials don't just disappear. If you purchase 500 rolls of toilet paper, and if everybody in the world purchases 500 rolls of toilet paper, that is not like we just created an additional demand that's going to stand there. You just moved demand from 6 months, a year from now, up to now. And so the demand may be ridiculous now, and there may be a lot of money being made by these companies, but there will be no demand going forward after this incident, and these people have to use up all these long-lived commodities. So I know what happened. This is exactly what happened. And back in the day, our results were terrible for several years, and you could see when people finally ran out of stuff and started buying again because the market for our products came back. You're always selling some, but the overall majority of what we've got going on right now is just going to end up being displaced demand. So the second quarter results for these companies may look really good, but the third, fourth, and next year might be really interesting as people work through this ridiculous supply of these commodities that they really didn't need to buy. And now this will get me onto my third topic, price gouging. I'm perfectly fine with it. I love it. I think it should be mandated in situations like this. I mean, that sounds nasty, but you think about it. Let's use one that I see more often. Hurricanes coming in, everybody's lined up at the gas pumps. Got to fill up $2 a gallon gas or whatever. You don't need it. If you don't need gasoline to get to work, you don't need it. It's going to come back. It's going to be fine. You don't need to fill 750 cans. You don't need right now 1,000 rolls of toilet paper. You don't. All you're doing is screwing somebody who does need it because there isn't any to be purchased. Now, if the stores were able to, let's say, charge double, triple, whatever, instead of $15 for a 30-pack of toilet paper, it's $30 for a 30-pack of toilet paper. Well, maybe if you need it, you'll only buy one rather than 3. And then there's more for everybody else. I'm perfectly fine with it. If other stores want to sell it cheap, let them. But price gouging in situations where demand is artificially stupid is perfectly acceptable in my opinion. I have no issue with it. If I have to pay, if I need something, I'll pay a little more for it. Maybe a lot more for it if I really need it. But if I don't want to pay, and I don't really need it, market forces at work. Let it stabilize, let it fall out. Artificially deflating prices during times of artificially high demand creates panics and stupid, which is what we're seeing a bit now. So, I guess that's my rant for today. I'm hoping the audio on this came out pretty good. But anyway, I hope you all make it through all right. I hope you all got your toilet paper. And see you on the backside.